Hey, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm trying out a new Razer microphone that works apart from the camera. So I'll be curious to get feedback on number one, if you can hear music and if you can hear me at the same time, that would be like a miracle. Yeah, hopefully you can hear something. Hey, welcome to Beth and welcome to Thalia as well. So this is the new microphone that I picked up with the hope that it would provide better audio quality. And I just had the music playing softly in the background. It's got a pickup on the front, and it also has a pickup on the back as well. So my hope was instead of using the camera as the audio source, I'll use this instead, and we'll see how it works. Maybe eventually I'll figure out how to get music and voice playing at the same time. But I really wanted to just test this microphone out. I had not planned on shooting a live stream of the packing of this Swedish beauty that's going to be heading back to London, England today. And I've obviously shipped international before, but it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you're getting ready to send a machine on a journey of 4,000 miles plus. You can imagine how many hands and how many people and how many hard floors and how many, you know, upset courier type people, shuffling that package and tossing it off, are going to be touching this package as it's heading back to Adam. And then on top of that, I need to also help him out by providing paperwork. This paperwork right here that I printed that has to be enclosed with the machine so that when it goes through customs, he doesn't get hit with extra charges as if he's purchased this machine from me, which is what happened to Heidi when I shipped that machine to her in Switzerland. You might remember that one. I prepared that FOF 332, shipped it all the way to Switzerland. And then when it arrives, they basically hold it at the post office, and there has to be an invoice attached and all kinds of other paperwork so that they can then decide how much they're going to charge that person in country for receiving those goods. And so we're hoping that by these documents that Adam gave me to enclose with his Swedish beauty, that they're not going to charge him anything extra as it comes into the country. But if the new king needs a pair of golf clubs or something like that, he might have sent a message to the postal people there. Hey, let's bag every person we can get as they're coming in with goods and see if we can get extra money so I can buy my golf clubs. And some of you might remember, as we're looking at Adam's machine, weren't there a bunch of scratch marks on this machine? And it was all kind of, it had kind of a rough look to it on the front. At Adam's request, I took this down to the paint shop and custom mixed some paint, which, whoops, as I dropped my phone. But on the front of here, originally, let's see if I can set the camera down. On the front of here, originally, it had these deep scratch marks right here, like you can see right there in the shot. Plus, it had that awful, ugly sticker from the sewing place in London where the machine had been serviced at some point. And obviously, we always try to get rid of those stickers because they're just an awful eyesore, especially on Swedish beauties. But this was a little bit of a challenge because this was all the way down to bare metal, these scratch marks. If you saw that live stream, you saw that they were very prominent on the front, along with some other scratch marks elsewhere on the machine. And as kind of a last minute request, Adam asked me to take it down to the paint shop and see what I could do. Now, it's not perfect. It's not perfect because a machine like this is exposed to all kinds of elements, UV rays, and just wear and tear. And over time, the paint is not an even color all throughout. And so to mix it so that this over here in this region on the pillar would be all but invisible was a bit of a challenge, but it was really important to him. And even sometimes when last minute requests come in, I try to take care of it whenever I can. So I hope he's going to be pleased with it. I sent him some still shots and he goes, "Holy mackerel." So I think that's a good thing for an English person to say holy mackerel, even though it's a fish. And now the machine just looks a little bit more presentable. And when it gets back again, the intent that Adam has for this Swedish Beauty from 1954 is he wants to be able to sew vintage military jackets. And so leather is a big deal to him. That's why right underneath the presser foot, I've got some of this saddle grade leather. This is 2 layers of saddle grade leather that I did on that live stream for Adam's machine. And that way he can see that the machine is capable of handling lots and lots and lots and lots of leather. But the packing process on a machine like this is pretty much the same as any other. That's still a hoot. Don't you love that plug-in? Kind of like you're getting ready to plug your dryer in. But the packing process on this machine and the machine that I sent to Heidi in Switzerland is going to be the same pretty much if I'm shipping to England or if I'm shipping to Texas. I go through the same general process. Once in a while, I will add a little bit more reinforcement if there's a history with that country being a little rougher on parcels that are coming from the U.S. So I'm going to obviously add extra padding to the upper tension that I did a repair on because it already has a small crack in there, but I filled that with an epoxy so that it's nice and stable now. And then I'll provide extra protection to the knobs as well. Any plastic areas, even the balance wheel on this machine needs extra protection. Over here, the bobbin winding assembly has plastic on it as well. So I'll add a little bit of extra protection to that as well. And then we'll get this heading that direction. I don't know exactly how long. It's kind of post holidays now. It's post Christmas, post New Year. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take this machine to reach him. But if I were guessing, if it's comparable to shipping to Switzerland or Australia, like I've done before, it's going to probably take about 10 days. Probably take about 10 days. It'll go by USPS International Priority Mail. And if you're curious, and I don't think I'm sharing any great secrets, I'll show you the, whenever I'm going to ship a machine, particularly ship it internationally, I always try to get a pre-weight and a pre-shipping cost of that machine so that I know what to bill the customer. And when I got a pre-weight on this, I'll just ask anyone that's still in the live chat, does anyone want to guess what it costs to send a Swedish Beauty to England from Oconto, Wisconsin? Does anybody want to venture a guess? Beth has a, it sounds like Beth has a FOF 130 from Germany. And Beth has a similar plugin. The plugins on the German machines will be a little bit different than the US, or excuse me, not the US. I didn't mean to say that. Will be a little bit different than the ones that are coming to England. Let me see if I have a converter to show you what that might look like. Give you an idea of Beth's plugin. This step-up converter that I got has some other adapters with it, and this would be what Beth would need for her plug-in in Germany. When I lived in Germany for those 3 years as a military service member, all of the plugs that we had in our German quarters, because I didn't live on the military base, I chose to live on the economy the whole time I was in Germany. So all the plugins in Germany look something like this. And you plug them in, and then you're able to plug other things into the other side. Just don't make the mistake I did, like with my radio. When I first arrived in Germany, I wanted to have some music while I was unpacking, so I plugged a converter, um, like this, an adapter. I plugged an adapter like this into the German outlet, and then I plugged my radio in the other side, not even thinking, duh, your radio is 110, 120, and now you're plugging, this into a 230 outlet. And I ended up frying the radio. So just don't make that mistake. If you're traveling somewhere and you've got to make adjustments like that. But yeah, it's always fun to have international machines in the workshop. It just gives a different flavor, a different feeling to things. So Beth typed in around 250 and Thalia typed in about 150. I can tell you right now to ship. Matter of fact, I'll show you an example of it if I can find it. Right now to ship, even as close as, see if I can find it here. Oh, that's a different one. I can't find it right now, but anyway, shipping rates have gone up crazy right now because of the gas and the fuel prices. With gas and fuel prices going off the charts, the result is now if I even ship somewhere like to Thalia out in Missouri, or I shipped recently a machine just next door to Minnesota, that 301A that I just got done servicing for Bill Bradley. He's going to give it to his wife and daughter as a belated Christmas present and for like a New Year thing. And it's like $100. So to ship all the way to England, especially with a Swedish beauty like this that weighs in right about, let's see what they weighed it in at, right around 40 pounds. When I took it in, I actually had this down at the paint shop. So I took in the tote with the address and everything, and then I put some metal weights in the bottom of it to be the equivalent of a sewing machine to get a rate. But here's what they quoted it at, and I obviously put insurance on it, so you can kind of see what my quote was, so I knew what to charge Adam as it was getting ready to head towards England. Hopefully you can see that in the shot. So shipping has gone off the charts. The ultimate price was right around 200 and with insurance was right around $253. So Beth guessing, I think around 250. She was really, really close. So I don't know if Beth either ships machines over to the European marketplace or receives them from there, but prices have gone up a lot, and there are some cheaper options out there. One of the couriers that Adam talked about me maybe using, but I was reluctant to do it because I don't know how they handle packages, to be honest with you, but they do offer much cheaper rates, is something called Parcel Hero. Parcel Hero. And Parcel Hero is big in the European marketplace right now, where they are doing a lot of shipping out of England and the surrounding areas, Ireland, and they're doing a lot of shipping to the United States. And they're offering some really crazy cheap rates for heavier packages like this. So if you happen to buy something that's overseas and you need to ship it to yourself here in the US or have somebody ship it to you, mention to them Parcel Hero. And, as they develop even a stronger reputation, I might start using them as well because they do offer options, limited options on shipping from the United States to Europe as well. So that might be something I'll think about doing. But yeah, almost 200, right around $250 to ship this back. And that tells you, it tells me at least, it tells me that the value of my work and what separates me from the pack with all the other people out there trying to do similar things to what I'm doing with restoring and repairing sewing machines, people are willing to invest a lot more money to get it to the workshop so that it can get the workshop magic, and willing to invest a lot of money as well to get their machine back once it's gotten that workshop magic. And those of you that have followed me on Facebook a lot know that there was a lot that went into this project. The last minute paint work that I did, again, to spruce up the appearance of the machine so those horrible scrape marks weren't on the front of the machine. Touch-up work up here as well. And then I also gave Adam some custom touch-up paint. So if he happens to scratch it or wants to do additional touch-up on it as well, see if I can find it here. I prepared this extra little bottle of touch-up paint for Adam, so he's got this available to him as well. And it's a lot of work when you're mixing colors like this. It's a hand mixing process. You know, a lot of people do, and I have in the past used something called a color spectrometer. And a color spectrometer basically is a real fancy camera that takes a picture of the surface of, say, a sewing machine like this, and then it tells you how to mix the paint, to get color perfect match. The only problem is it might match that one little area, but then the surrounding areas, you can look over here and see that the color is a little bit different here. Color is a little bit different on the faceplate as well. And the color variation is going to change as you kind of move across the machine. So when you mix something like this by hand, you have to take into account not only the area that you're enhancing to make it look nicer, but also the surrounding area as well. So you don't just have a blop of paint right there, but it kind of blends, it kind of fades into the surrounding area as well, so that the repair isn't as obvious and doesn't stand out. And it's a tricky process, and Adam understood that and understood it was a last minute request. But again, I want to take the best care of my customers, because I know they're investing quite a bit more money to have the work done here at the workshop. So at any rate, I'm going to set the camera down, and even if you can't hear it, I'm going to put on some more music, and I'm just going to start packing this. And if you need to step away, I totally understand. But I wanted to at least test this microphone, which is also by Razer, the same folks that made this Kaio Pro Razer camera that I'm using for live streaming, and just see if it works a little bit better. I'd be curious if anyone wants to let me know, as I'm talking right now, would you say that the audio quality for this mic picking me up is clearer than the camera, or is it about the same? I'm just curious what you're hearing right now as far as audio quality. Anyone that wants to type into the chat. Oh, thank you, Thalia. Yeah, I really try to do things the right way. I dig into machines deeper than anyone that I know in the world. I take on repairs, kind of like this work that had to be done for Adam in London. It wasn't just the machine, mechanically, electrical. You might remember when I unboxed this machine and I touched the power cord coming into the back, it was literally crackling. And so there was electrical work on this. There was mechanical work, last minute paint work as well to enhance the look of the machine. Plus, if you remember, this case was falling apart. All of these seams had come loose. All the stitching was rotten. And I totally restored Adam's carrying case as well. So, when I take on a project, if I discover more things, I don't just kind of blow it off and say, well, we didn't agree to that. If I can do it, I'll do it. And that's why I say to customers when they'll contact me and their machine is still waiting, and they'll say to me, well, how long do you think it'll take? How long will I before I reach the workbench? I'm always hesitant to give them a timeline, because when you take on a project like this and you only expect to do a few things to this machine, and then all of a sudden the list grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. That's just the nature of doing things the right way. Kind of like this case took several more hours than I anticipated, because I didn't even know about the case when it arrived, and then the inside came out of it, the sides were falling out. You could look in the front of the case and look out the back of the case. It was just crazy how bad off this case was. And I like to take care of the customers properly. So okay, and Beth is giving some valuable feedback. Um, she's saying it sounds clear. So um, eventually I'll probably Razor's just gonna love me. The Razor company is gonna absolutely adore me because I start by buying this Kaio. No, that's not even true. I bought their Ring camera first, which is a lower grade streaming camera. It's still supposed to be really, really good. And I spent like 100 some dollars on that. Then I bought this Kaio Pro camera, which was like $200. Now I bought this microphone, this thing right here. That was another 100 some dollars. And then eventually I'll probably buy an audio mixer where I'll be able to change the levels. It's a 4-channel mixer that Razer puts out as well. And then I'll be able to adjust it. So hopefully you'll be able to listen to music and listen to me at the same time. That's my ultimate plan, but I'm trying to stage this out a little bit, a New Year's resolution of not buying too much too quick. So it'll be interesting though. Eventually we'll have so much, we'll be like a little radio studio or TV studio here with all of the hardware I've got in place to try to do better streaming with higher quality audio, high definition, and all the blah 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 that goes into being a YouTuber and being a vintage guy as well. So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting, I think. Oh, hello to Susie as well. Hello to Susie. I'm going to put away this touch-up paint before I drop it, but I don't mind going the extra mile. I don't mind going the extra mile for customers at all. And when they finally get the machine back, they're just tickled pink. They're just tickled pink with how the machine sews, how it looks, and all the other stuff. So, at any rate, I'm going to start packing this because I have the post office closing here at 4:30 local time, and they always get a little. They're always very kind. They're always very nice. But if I walk in the door at the last second, because there's going to be customs forms and everything for this machine to go back to England, they're not going to be real happy with me. And they actually close in like around 4 hours or so, and it takes me like a good 2.5 to 3 hours to pack this. And I'm not going to live stream the entire thing again. I just wanted to get feedback on how this new microphone, this external microphone, is doing. And according to what Beth tells me, the audio quality is even better with this external microphone, because the camera has a microphone built in it as well. It actually has a microphone on either side of the lens, but I'm using this one now. And then what I can do is hold on a second. So you might not be able to hear it right now, but I'm going to turn on some music. And then what I can do is I can also adjust the volume of the music right here on this microphone, because the audio jack plugs in the bottom of it. You can kind of see that right there. And I also downloaded, this is kind of exciting, when I go to do more live streaming and I present machines and I show the stitch offs, I should be able to get a little bit less of a problem in getting it to focus in on the stitches, because I found out that there is a program that I can download, which I've done, so I can make fine adjustments on the camera as well. I can tell it what the lighting of the room looks like. I can set the sensitivity as far as close focusing. So I'm hoping that it's going to do a much better job as well with the video too. But I'm going to crank on some music right now, and then I'm just going to jump into this live stream and again, run it for a while, and then kind of close off the live stream. And I'm trying to see. Let's see here. Oh, I've got keys right now. It's showing me Christmas music for some reason. I have no idea why, but we'll have a little bit of Christmas music, and I'll play Old Lang Syne, which is like a New Year's song too. So, and you may not be able to hear it, but I'm just curious what'll happen. Let's see. All right, here we go. Thanks everybody. And happy New Year to you as well, in case I get muffled as soon as I turn this music on. Happy New Year, happy New Year, happy New Year. So I don't know if you can hear the music, but I'm playing it right now. So all right. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Hopefully you can. I'm just going to start packing, and I won't be looking at the live chat. But if you have any general questions, one of the moderators should be able to help you out. So, uh, yeah. At any rate, have a great day, everybody, and thanks for popping on. I think Susie from Minnesota just sent me a text, so I'm just going to take a look and see what it is. Oh, that's a good idea. You know what? Susie just sent a note. Hopefully, you guys can hear what I'm saying right now. Susan suggested that I send one of the hats to England. So let me grab the hats real quick. And I know we don't have a lot of folks in the live stream right now because it's packing a sewing machine, which if you're not trying to pack a sewing machine right now, it's kind of like watching grass grow. But I think that's a great idea. So I'm going to grab the hats real quick, and whoever's in the live stream right now, I'll let you pick the one that we send to Adam in England, and I'll ask him if he will pose with the hat that Susie made for me to share. If he will pose in front of Buckingham Palace with the cow country hat on, that's a great idea, Susie. Let me grab the hat real quick. Again, I'm keeping them in this plastic bag so that they don't get all dusty and dirty in the workshop. But I'd like all of you, if you would, I'd like you to pick out the hat that we're going to send to Adam in England. Let me kind of move this to the side real quick. So we've got this black one with pink lettering. We've got this white one that has black lettering. Another one with the same lettering. We've got a white one with pink lettering. We've got a white one with black lettering. We've got kind of a gray colored one with pink lettering. And then we've got these scrolly ones that Sue from Minnesota made for me as well. Black lettering on a white hat. Same thing on that one. And then we've got a red hat with that scrolly writing as well. And then finally a gray one. Whoops, I just lost it. A gray one with red lettering on it as well. So I'll let you all decide which of these we're going to send to Adam in England. There's the red one. Yeah, that was a great idea on Susie's part. Great idea. Oh, good. You guys can hear me. I didn't know this new microphone. I think is definitely a step up and an improvement. But the other one, when I was playing music, it would kind of muffle out the thing. So let's see. So Susie was suggesting black one up front. This one, Ron, with the pink lettering, because this again is for Adam. And not that guys can't like pink, they certainly can. But it's kind of a toss up between this one and then the black and white one with black lettering, I think is what Sue was suggesting. Black and white hat with black lettering. So we're kind of in between these two. I didn't know if Adam has a spouse or a partner, but I could always send two. But I think it would totally be cool for Adam to go in front of Buckingham Palace with either one of these hats on and to take a selfie and then to send it to us so that I can share it on Facebook and maybe even show it on YouTube as well or something like that. Any other votes? Because right now we kind of have we have Ron is saying this one, Susie is saying this one. I'm kind of divided. Oh, okay. So Adam does have a partner. Adam does have a partner, Susie said. I didn't realize that, but I wasn't watching the live chat when we showed this machine live streamed. So Susie is saying Adam has a partner named Liv, Liv. Let's send two of them then. So we'll send this one and we'll send this one. This will be for Adam, presumably. Presumably, this will be for his partner, this one. So that's a great idea, Susie. And thank you again for making these. Susie from Minnesota made these and sent it with a whole box of goodies. So this will be, and maybe they'll switch. Maybe Adam will be a rebel and wear this one, and his partner will wear this one. But I'm going to put it over with the rest of the stuff so I don't forget to add it to the box and ship it in. Yeah, super. Thanks for the input, Ron, and thank you, Susie, for the input as well. So we're sending these all the way to London now, and hopefully he and his partner will pose in front of Buckingham Palace and give us a royal wave with these cow country hats on that Susie from Minnesota made up and sent them to the workshop. And now they're going all the way to London, all the way to London. All right, I'm going to put these away and keep them nice and clean. I did get another request by email. I'm trying to remember what the gentleman's name is. A lot of folks will not be able to join the live streams, and then they'll watch the live stream as a video later. And I'm trying to remember what this guy's name is. From Montana. Let's see here. See if I can open it. So William, I'll just give a shout out to William real quick. William from William writes, just making sure there's nothing, well, there his address is on there. I'll just show his last name. And this came in yesterday by email. Let's see here. So William writes, hey, Scott, you have a great YouTube channel, and I look forward to all your live streams, especially on a cold, snowy Minnesota Saturday morning. Now, this is what confuses me a little bit, because he talks about it being a cold, snowy Minnesota morning. And we actually have more snow coming in this week into Wisconsin. And then he goes on to say, I've learned a lot from, I've learned a lot from them. I would be proud to wear one of your cow country hats if you have any left. Thanks again. Then he talks about his channel, Mesa GSP. We've seen in the live chat on this channel, I know that Susie will remember this, and the other moderators will certainly remember, because they watch everything closely. I'm busy doing things, and they'll catch things I totally miss. But we've had somebody with the screen name on the YouTube channel before in the live chat, Mesa GSP. So that's apparently Bill. And I can't say Bill's last name. I don't know if anybody else wants to take a stab at Bill's last name. But it's always fun to get notes like this from people around the country and even around the world. And Bill loves your hat, Susie, that you made, obviously, because he sent me a special note yesterday saying, if we got any left, I'll take one. I'd love to have one. And he doesn't say what kind either. What kind of hat should we send to Bill out in Montana? I won't tell you. I'll tell you that Bill is out in Rush City, Montana, but I don't want to show his address. He's out in Rush City, Montana, and he wants to wear one of the hats that Susie made and sent to the workshop. So which one should we pick out for Bill, you guys? That's the thing. I don't know. We need to pick out one for Bill now, too. We picked out two to go to London, one to go to Adam, and then one to go to his partner. Now we need to pick out one for Bill out in Montana. What do y'all think? Got these fancy red ones with the scrolly writing, and this white one with the scrolly writing. Oh, I didn't even see this one back here. I threw this out of order somehow. This is a real cool looking one too. It's got this bright red lettering on the gray background with a hat. That's really cool too. Maybe that's what they wear out in Montana. I don't know. I don't know what they wear in Montana, but that might be a Montana hat right there. Or one of these white and black ones with the black lettering like we're going to send to Adam out in England. Maybe they're not. Maybe real men wear pink. They say that, right? Real men wear pink. Maybe this would be the right one for Bill out in Montana. I don't know. I'll look at the chat and see what y'all are saying. But we are down to give you an idea already, because I mailed one of these to Oklahoma. I mailed another one to Minnesota. Now we're going to mail 2 of them to England. We're going to mail one of these to Montana. So after we mail one of these, I'm going to have 3, 4, 5, 6. Have only about 8 left. So I'll have to work out a deal with Susie to get more of these hats eventually, because they're going quick. They're going quick. How is the new puppy? Who got a puppy? See what I talk about? I miss everything. How is the new puppy? Yeah, we can send a black and white one with lettering, with black lettering on it. That's cool. I have no see. I miss everything. Bill O'Rourke has a new puppy. Are you talking about Bill O from Kissimmee, Florida, or is it another Bill? Because I'm not seeing. I see Ron. I see Susie. Who else do we have in the live chat right now? I see Beth, Thalia. I don't see any bills. I don't see. Oh, you're talking about, okay, duh. I finally caught up. Apparently, in a previous live stream, because I don't see Bill in this one. In a previous live stream, Bill, who has that screen name that I showed you of Mesa Group. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I wasn't showing his address. Bill, who has that Mesa Group screen name. He says it right about there. Right about there, he shows it. He must have a new puppy. I didn't know that. I did not know that. But Susie knew it. Susie knew it from Minnesota. See why it's such a blessing to have a moderating leadership team, because they catch all the things I miss. So, at any rate, I'll grab one of these. And we'll send this to Bill with his new puppy out in what city did I say? Rush City. What am I saying? Montana. I read things too quickly sometimes. Oh my gosh. I read things too fast. I'm saying Montana. And Bill is probably saying, I don't think I live in Montana. He doesn't. Duh. He lives in Rush City, Minnesota. And I'll bet you Susie, living in Minnesota, probably knows where Rush City, Minnesota is. I have no idea. So Bill lives in Rush City, Minnesota. I moved him all the way to Montana. Bill, I'm sorry about that. You got a new puppy. You don't need the stress of me moving you to Montana on top of it. Duh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is for Bill from Minnesota, not Montana. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's too funny. Oh, I need to read things slower. That's what I need to do. All right. So I'm going to put the rest of these hats away, put them back in this bag to keep them safe, and get on with this packing job. And if you joined the live stream a little bit late, I'm packing this machine to go to Adam all the way in London, England, which from Oconto, Wisconsin is about 4,000 miles, a little bit more, give or take, 4,000 miles. So all right, I am going to be a good boy and get back to my packing job. And it sounds like you guys were able to off and on hear something coming through, music or otherwise. It's got a metal sliver. How did I get a metal sliver? I just got a metal sliver. I deal with polishing brushes and everything, and sometimes they'll get a metal sliver. Now, have to pull it out real quick. Okay. All right. So blah, blah, blah. Let's get on with this machine. And what I was showing you before is whenever you're shipping a machine, it's always a good idea to tag down, especially if you have someone that's not familiar with the machine. This machine was not even really running, so Adam doesn't have much familiarity with it. So I leave it pre-threaded. That way, when it arrives in London, he doesn't have to figure out, am I threading it right? He'll be able to right away sit down, plug it in, and get to enjoy it. And I don't know if his partner is going to be using it as well, but I always try to make it as easy as I can for the customer. That way, they can sit down to it right away without any extra delay. So, all right. Well, again, as you have to step away, I understand, but I'm going to get busy on this. Oh, I'll also show you this real quick just for fun. These pads on the bottom, you might remember, were all worn. They were all dried out and falling apart, basically disintegrating. I also added these new pads to this Husqvarna as well, just so that there's a good solid sewing base for Adam over in England. So, all right. Well, again, I'm not going to be looking at the chat specifically. And I'm not playing any music right now. So if you're not hearing music, that's okay. But I am going to turn the music back on, and maybe you'll catch little bits and pieces of it as I'm playing. It's possible. So we'll see. We'll see what you can hear and what you can't hear. So, all right, I'm going to get back to this. And thanks for your help in picking out a hat for Bill in Rush City, Minnesota. And I didn't ask Susie specifically. Susie, have you ever heard of Rush City, Minnesota? Where is that in relation to, say, Minneapolis or the Twin Cities or Mall of America or anything like that? I have no idea where Rush City, Minnesota is. Now that I realize it's Minnesota and not Montana. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, a little bit more music. So if you can't hear music, then that's okay. I can hear it here. And I'm just packing all the accessories right now, taking care of getting everything ready that's going to accompany the machine, and then I'll focus on the machine. Foot controller, extension bed, accessory box. So now we're going to focus on the delicate parts of the machine on the front. The upper tension control, stitch width, needle position, needle position, stitch width, stitch length, feed dog drop. And then also we're going to pad extra on here as well because we got plastic. So what I just added is I added a little bit more tape to make sure the faceplate stays closed, and then I'm also gonna add a little strip of, painter's tape to the light here that you can kinda see in the shot, to make sure that this doesn't drop down while it's being transported. And that little piece of tape right there will hold it together very, very nicely so that this doesn't drop down. You can see I cut this one a little bit longer so it can cover the stitch length and also the feed dog drop as well. And this little one will be to cover the bobbin winding side over here. That's also plastic on the end over here. So we'll put this over here to add a little bit of extra protection and then build around that after we've added that extra protection. Now we have to kind of add it on as we're putting the stretch wrap on. So you can see we've added those extra padded areas. They just have to put this little one on the side bobbin winder, and they will have those sensitive areas with extra protection. One more piece to cover the balance wheel since it's made out of plastic also. I'm gonna cut that a little bit bigger. It's a little bit too small. So we're gonna save this for something else. And I'll do one more for the back of the machine because the light turn on for this is also plastic. And this is only the pre-packing protection that we're doing right here, adding to these sensitive areas, the upper tension, the needle position, the stitch length, the stitch width, the feed dog drop, and then also we're going to be building just a little bit of extra on the back of here because the light switch you can see, I think, light switch right here, and the housing that the foot pedal, foot controller plugs into, these are both plastic. And so we want to add just a little bit of extra cushion there as well to ensure that it arrives safely. Again, we're talking about a machine that's going to be like over 4,000 miles, over 4,000 miles. So that would be like the distance of going from the workshop to California and then almost halfway back. Quite a distance to travel. Now over the top of the stretch wrap that we've added to the machine with the extra padding, now we go over it very carefully. We go over it very, very carefully with packing tape to anchor it down. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I can slide this into the carrying case. So I'm going to actually try to slide it into the carrying case, and then we'll add the packing tape afterwards to anchor it down. The case looks a lot better. I'm really pleased with the way this case turned out. I don't do a lot of case restorations, but this one was a fun one to pull back together again and get back into good condition. I even painted the handle a pretty red that kind of matches the case, and Adam said he really likes it. Originally, this would have been more the color of the strapping edges here, kind of a light color, and it looked really chalky and kind of chalky and unkept. So I decided to go with something that had a little bit more pop. And then I even painted these little rivet points on here as well to match the handle. And of course, this was all rusted. I polished this up as well. I didn't recoat it. I just polished it up and kind of tidied it up a little bit. So, and those of you that follow things on Facebook, you probably remember that the inside liner and everything, this all has been pulled out. So now it's back in there installed properly. So it's gonna not be falling out on Adam. So, all right, let's try to slide this in. Make sure I can get it in there properly. And when you're packing a machine, you always want to be kind of taking it in steps to make sure this case is more of an open case than some of the other Husqvarnas where you have to be really careful about clearance issues down here. So it fits in here very, very nicely. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have to take into account when we add extra padding to this. We only have about an inch and a half of clearance over here, about an inch clearance here, and about an inch and a half or so clearance on this side. So when I'm adding that cocooning to it, I can't bulk it out too much. If I bulk it out too much and we go to try to put it back into the case, it's not going to fit in there. So kind of have to watch your tolerances. Plus, we have the other factor as well that in all likelihood, we're going to put the extension bed into this little pouch that the case has, and that's going to be pressing even more against here. If we can't fit it so we can pad this machine properly, then I'll slide the extension bed into the tote adjacent to the machine and the case. We can do that as well because I think it might be a little bit too snug if we try adding the extension bed in here as well. All right, so let's get this back out and continue the packing process. All right, so now we're going to add that packing tape to anchor down this stretch wrap. And you notice that I've also tucked the power cord in next to the body of the machine to keep it safe, because part of this power cord is also plastic, and also those huge prongs that folks in the UK use to plug into the outlet, they could scratch this machine up badly. So you'll notice that I pre-wrapped it with stretch wrap, put packing tape over it, and now we're anchoring it down so it can't move at all over those 4,000 miles. The other thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to add a little bit of extra padding to these two thread guides on top. If you follow me on Facebook, you might remember that these were bent very badly from the trip from London to the workshop. I had to keep these up very carefully and basically bend them back into a proper form without breaking them, because these are really tough to find if you try to replace them. So we're going to add a little bit of extra padding to these thread guides right here. We've got one right there, and we've got one on the back of the machine as well. So we're going to pad those up a little bit more so that they don't get damaged again heading back to London. And if you didn't see me do it, I did it very quickly, but I did put stretch wrap across the top of the arm of the machine as well. And so as I'm putting tape down to anchor it down, I'm not putting the tape on the painted surface of the machine. I'm putting it over the stretch wrap. Try to avoid putting tape on the machine unless it's an acid-free painter's tape like you saw me put on to anchor down the threading points and stuff on the machine. So we've done all of this prep work to give us a good base of protection for this machine. Yes, the machine is going to be inside of the carrying case, but
what if something catastrophic happens and that carrying case that I so painstakingly restored for Adam and for his partner ends up getting destroyed? We've got to do everything to assume that the worst case scenario can happen, and the tow could be compromised, the case could be compromised, and so we build from the very beginning with the idea of hoping for the best, but planning for the worst. Planning for the worst means it just utterly gets destroyed. We want to do everything we can to protect that machine in the inner sanctum of that packing process. Hopefully that makes sense. Hey, that's a good question, Beth. That's a real good question. If that touch-up paint could be a combustible issue, um, I'm going to try to pat it well enough that it's not going to hopefully be a visual issue if they inspect it. But that is a good question. It's a real good question. In retrospect, I should have almost considered packing it inside of the heart of the machine. But I'll see if I can do a good enough job of padding and protecting it that hopefully the inspectors on the other end in England, they just look at the totality of the packing job and they go, "Oh my gosh, no way we're going to try to get into this machine to look any further." That's kind of my hope. But you know what? If they confiscate it, they confiscate it. Uh, the touch-up's already been done. I just added it in there as an extra, extra plus for Adam in case he or his partner end up scratching it again. They'll have the proper paint match for the machine. But that's a great, great question and great observation. I hope they're not watching this live stream. I hope they're not watching this live stream. So you can kind of see I start with a roll like this, and what I'll do is I'll pull probably about 3 to 4 feet off of this roll, and I'll manually work it around the machine as we start to build that cocoon around the machine. If I didn't have so many friends on the workbench, Mr. Bean and everybody else that you can kind of see, I'd have a little bit more space to rotate this around. A long time ago, what I used to do is I used to pack up machines. At the time, I was shipping by FedEx, and I would actually go to the FedEx store, and I would have one of those huge tables they would reserve for me where I could do the packing right there. But now that I do the packing on this workbench over here, I've got to be a little bit more clever about trying to navigate around without knocking our friends over. Again, as I do this, we'll have to be cognizant of how much how much girth we give to this machine that's going to be inside of the case because of the space tolerances and the clearances around the machine once it's in the case area. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down on the back in here with just a single piece of tape. We're going to get that case out again. And it's going to be a little bit more poofy right now because I haven't strapped it down with a stretch wrap yet. But if we can fit it in the case like this, then I know once I stretch it down with a stretch wrap that it'll fit in there very nicely. And then we'll build a cushion around it to fill any vacant spots that are around the machine inside of the case. It fills out real quickly, so you have to really be a little bit more poofy right now. I'm going to try to very carefully slide it into there. If I can get it in there most of the way, I know once I strap it down, it's almost going to be like a girdle. I'm going to add a girdle to this with that stretch wrap afterwards to pull that bubble wrap in nice and tight. And then I know that we'll have a nice snug fit and we'll fill any of the little cavities that are around the machine inside of the case to make sure that it doesn't have any wiggle room in the process. We got it all the way in there right now. It's all the way in there. This bubble wrap is still loose up here. But look along here, you can see this edge. The machine is tucked all the way in. So we stopped at the right point with the amount of bubble wrap. And once we ratchet it down with that stretch wrap, we'll have a really, really nice fit with a small little cavity space over here that we can fill a small little cavity space there. Otherwise, it's going to be totally immobilized, which is what you want to do in the packing process. You want this to be able to jiggle around inside of the case and potentially get damaged, especially when it's traveling over 4,000 miles. There's a lot of opportunity. Now we'll see if I can get it back under the case again. I think I can. So that's why I sometimes say this science of packing, you really have to kind of look almost like playing the game of chess. You have to kind of look a couple of steps ahead as you're packing something so you don't run and paint yourself into a corner and do a very elaborate bubble wrap cocooning of the machine and then go to try to fit it into the case and it won't fit. And then you have to go through the process of taking those extra layers off and cutting through and doing all kinds of extra stuff. Try to pack smart, take it in small steps, one step at a time, and then you'll be able to hopefully not have to redo things. Kind of like the carpenter's rule: measure twice, cut once. We're trying to measure twice right now, cut once. That's what we're trying to do. Well, let's anchor it down now. You don't just put the bubble wrap on like some of the machines that come to the workshop. All they do is just throw a little bit of bubble wrap on it. We tuck that in against the body of the machine so that it creates a fortress, basically. It creates a shell that's closely tucked into that machine, almost like a baby chick inside of an egg. It just tucks it in and it provides a lot higher level of protection for that machine, making it a single unit, making it a single unit. And kind of pull up on the bubble wrap as you're coming around with the stretch wrap so you don't have little pockets in there where it's drooped down. And then what I do across the top, you can see how we've contoured it in very nicely across the machine. What I do across the top is I cross over with the stretch wrap, so I close that opening up on the top, kind of tuck it down, and then we'll go around this with packing tape to make it a single unit and to anchor everything down. I'll show you what I just did. So we've tucked that in now, and now what we'll do is we'll go around this, the entire body of the machine, we'll go around it uh, with packing tape and make sure that that packing tape is going to hold all of this together and maintain that cocoon fortress around this machine that's traveling to England. And on the funny side of things, I'll just share with you, I've had a number of people over the years since I've introduced this packing process contacting and almost like coming to a Catholic priest asking for forgiveness. They've contacted me and they said, I have to apologize. I've been using your packing method and I've been telling my customers that it's my packing method and they love it. They laud and they praise me for how brilliant the packing process is, and the fact that that their machine arrived without a scratch, and some of the packages have arrived very damaged, but the machine still arrived okay. And I've said back to them, I said, the reason I share this is because I want you to steal the idea and to make it your own. And who knows, maybe you'll come up with even a better improvement on the packing process to protect those vintage sewing machines that are going all around the globe. But it's kind of the same reason that if you didn't know the story, you know those special seat belts, they're called like a 3-point harness. They go across your tummy, and then they also that strap goes across your chest. company that developed that technology of that 3 point, in some cases 5 point harness that has saved so many lives in automobile crashes, ended up getting a patent for it, but leaving it as an open patent so that no one has to pay a penny to use that innovative design that's now basically installed in all cars to keep people safe. Does anyone know what company that was that developed that technology originally, that design, and then gave it to the world for free? They gave that design of the seatbelt design that was so much better than the original lap seatbelt that they had, where when there was a crash, someone would lunge forward. There was nothing to hold them back, and their body would lunge forward, and they would strike the steering wheel or even strike the windshield. And many still died, even though they had the old-fashioned seatbelt on there. Does anyone know what company that was that designed this amazing seatbelt that we still use to today, and they gave it away for free? They didn't require that anybody pay them anything for using the design that was patented in the U.S. Patent Office. Blah blah blah. And Beth is saying, what about 3M? 3M is not the one that designed it. 3M is not the one that designed the seatbelt. Talking about the seatbelt that was designed by a car company, and instead of they got a patent for it, instead of leaving the patent open-ended so that anyone can use the design and copy the design without having to pay this company a penny, they left it open-ended so that anyone that wants to copy the seatbelt design that we still use today in all of our cars could copy it with impunity and could use it in all of their cars, and we could save hundreds, if not thousands, of lives. 3M is a great answer, a great guess, but it's actually a car company that designed it. Let me give you a huge clue. I'll give you a huge clue. This same car company makes cars in the same place this sewing machine was made originally, in Sweden. It's a Swedish-based car company that brilliantly came up with this 3 point or 5 point seatbelt harness that all car manufacturers today that I know of use that same design, and they can use it for free of charge because this company gave away the idea for free. Kind of like I'm giving away my packing for free. Anybody that wants to copy it and claim it as their own, it's totally cool. It's a Swedish-based car company, just like this is a Swedish-based sewing machine company. So I've got the stretch wrap on there. Now we're adding the packing tape as an extra reinforcement to hold all of this together so that the machine has the best level of protection possible. We're basically adding the 5 point to 3 point seatbelt harness to this machine right now. I'm just pressing that tape into the body of the machine now to make sure it's got a nice strong grip on that stretch wrap, and it's going to hold all of this together as a single unit. Now I got to add tape across the crown of the machine over the arm and the filler as well to make sure that this is all attached together as a single unit. And no one's guessed yet. I bet your husband probably would know it, Beth. And you can now have fun with your husband and others that are in this live stream can have fun by asking the same question: what car company developed the seatbelt system we use today and gave it away to the world for free
when they could have restricted the use of the design or charged companies to use it by making the patent a closed end patent instead of an open ended patent. It was none other than, and I'm actually going to type it into the chat right now. See if I can do this on my phone. Hopefully that shows up in the live chat. I just typed the answer in. Volvo developed the technology in the seatbelts that we use today, and they gave it away to the world. They could have made tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars with other companies wanting to adopt their design, but they would have had to have paid for it. And instead of making folks pay for it, they gave it away to the world and all the car manufacturers that are using it today absolutely free. Absolutely free. When I was in Germany, a lot of the service members that had brought a car over, and if you don't know this about the military, when you're in the military and you go overseas, it could be over to Germany, it could be to Japan, it could be to Korea or any of the other places our service members are serving around the globe. I happen to serve in Germany. And when you bring a car over to Germany, you're entitled to then bring a car back to the United States when you complete your service and you redeploy back to the United States. So a lot of people would bring over really crummy cars. They'd bring over really crummy cars. We used to call them hoopties. And they would bring a hoopty over that was just almost a rusted bag of tricks. And then they would sell it to a German. Germans are really intrigued by American cars for some reason. And so Germans will usually, if you offer an American car, they'll scoop it up just because it's kind of a novelty. Then they can tell all their friends that they bought an American car from a service member. And then when they get ready to ship back, they can bring a car back free of charge. The government will pay for it. I guess we pay for it only. And a lot of them would take a train trip up to Sweden from Germany. You could jump on a train in Germany. It would go all the way up to the edge of where you would go on to Sweden. I think they would have to take a ferry then. They would take a ferry from Germany over to Sweden. And then you could tour the factory of Volvo. And after you got done touring the factory of Volvo and actually had a chance to shake hands with the workers that made your car, they would then present your car to you, and then you would drive that car back onto the ferry and then ultimately drive it back into Germany. And a lot of service members did that. I didn't do that, but a lot of them would. And so they would go into that factory and meet the workers. They would then jump into their car that was just made by those workers, and they would drive it back to Germany. And then ultimately, they would bring it all the way back to the United States. So if you have any family or friends that are stationed over in Germany now, if they still offer that, which I know they offer if you bring a car, you can take a car back, but let them know about that. You can get an amazing tour of the Volvo automotive factory, meet the workers, and then you can drive your car brand new back into Germany and then ultimately back to the United States. So now you know. Volvo is very generous in giving that patent away to the world. So all of us today riding in our cars are safer because of that. Yeah, yeah, well said, well said. She said, now that's paying it forward to protect everyone. Absolutely. Some things you just can't put a price on. You can't put a price on a human life. And our friends over in Sweden recognize that and they came up with this amazing design for seatbelts that everyone today still uses. Yep. Well, I am pretty close to where I'm gonna end the live stream. Not because I don't want to show you how my voice is
breaking up a little bit. Okay. We shut the music off entirely. Hopefully, you can hear me okay now that I shut the music off entirely. I had it kind of playing in the background, but I'm going to be ending the live stream pretty quick. We're going to duplicate the computing process around the case. Oh, I'm too close to the mic. Okay. How is that now? Is that better?
Okay, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay. So yeah, the I think I'm gonna have to invest in a mixer that Razer puts out, so I can um, all of these microphones, both the microphone on the camera and then this supplemental microphone that I've gotten now, this one right here. These all come with a noise reducing feature, and unfortunately, the noise reducing feature perceives music perceives music as noise, and so I think that's why it muffles all the music, and then it starts to, with that muffling process, also muffle out my voice as well. So sometimes good ideas can have consequences that we don't expect. I think that's probably the case. They thought, okay, somebody doing live streaming is going to want to talk and describe and to tell and to share and to interact and all that. But they didn't fathom the idea that that person talking might want to have music playing at the same time. Since I'm breaking up again, I'm breaking up again. I have no idea why, because I have no music playing right now. Uh, I'm turning this microphone around. How is that now? Is that any better? Is that any better when I do it like that? Kind of turn the microphone around. So Beth said it was perfect, and then Susie said it was breaking up. How is it coming through right now? I'm just going to keep talking. I'm going to say something like, "Hello, greetings, everyone. We're live on the Cow Country Channel right now." It has an echo. I wonder if that's because I've got this open up on my phone right now. Let me see. Let me check something. Okay, I shut everything off now. So are you getting an echo right now? Is it echoing right now or not? What are you getting right now as far as audio quality? It sounds tinnish. Tinnish. Okay. Maybe I'll try backing away from the mic just a little bit. Yeah, talk to your husband. See if he has any knowledge about the Razer live streaming equipment. But I'm guessing what your husband's probably going to tell me to do is what I'm already thinking about doing, and that is add a mixer, a four-channel mixer that Razer makes, so that I can control the audio quality even more than I am right now. I'm guessing that's probably what he's going to tell me to do. All right. Well, I'm going to keep
go ahead and wrap up this live stream. I'll go ahead and wrap this live stream up. Yeah, show them the live stream. That's a great idea. And I'll just for Beth's sake, I'll just kind of show her this mic again. This is the mic that Razer makes. So you don't have to rely on the camera mics that are built into the camera. And it's supposed to be a microphone, high quality microphone. And we kind of take this in steps. I think the first live stream I tried to do was just a nightmare. It was just a nightmare. Part of it was my internet speed. And my internet speed now with 5G is very fast. It's very good on the upload. So the live streaming quality, apart from this audio issue, the live streaming quality has stepped up quite a bit. But I think a mixer will probably take me to the next level, so that audio quality is a little bit more even, a little bit more predictable. No, I'm not wearing a mic. I'm not wearing a mic right now. I have this mic right here. This is a mic that Razer, just like my camera, they make this external mic, and this external mic is overriding the mics that are in the camera right now. So this mic you can see right here, it almost looks like a broadcaster's mic. This mic right now is what I'm using for you to be able to hear me. This is actually the external mic right now. So in proximity to the workbench, the mic is over here, and then I'm working right over here by the machine. So kind of a distance back. You can see where the mic is on the far right there, or the far left. You see where the mic is on the far left, and then where the machine is. So yeah, this is the microphone that I'm relying on right now, instead of relying on the camera mics that are built into the camera. So yeah, so I'm facing the microphone right now, just like I was on a radio station. And this again is going to be a mic, and I can adjust the sensitivity on this mic as well. I went with the default when I installed the driver for this mic. It requires a USB connection. That's how this mic works. It uses a USB connection on my laptop. And then there's a few adjustments that I can make to the audio sound. And I'll probably make some of those, adjusting the sensitivity a little bit after this live stream, and try some new settings for the next live stream I end up doing. Yeah, and the sound right now, I'm literally facing the mic. I'm literally facing the mic right now. So what I could try doing is I could try grabbing this mic. I'm gonna have to unplug the audio. That's okay. And I'll actually move this mic into the shot right over here. And that way, when I'm talking, facing the machine that I'm packing, I'll be facing this mic at the same time. And maybe that will improve the audio quality as well, along with the setting adjustments that I do to this also, to try to make it, if you're getting a tinny sound periodically, maybe the sensitivity is too high on it right now. Maybe I have the sensitivity, or the default is set a little bit too high. So, but
seems to be a really well-made mic. Seems to be a well-made mic. So I think this is definitely this is an improvement from relying on the microphones that are built into the Razer Pro live stream. Yeah, let your husband know, Beth, that the setup I have for broadcasting right now is originally I was using this it's called a Razer Kiyo Kiyo Pro streaming camera. It's a very, very nice camera. They're around 200 some dollars, which is pretty expensive for a streaming camera. But you've got the microphones built into the camera, so they're not as portable as this is now. I can move this pretty much anywhere I want to move it. And it'll hopefully have a little bit better ability to pick me up. But it has that noise canceling feature in it. So it's going to block out external stuff other than my voice, kind of like the music that I try to play. That's where I think a mixer will help a lot. A mixer will allow me to say, no, don't block that out. I want to be able to hear that music. So don't block it out. Leave it the way it is. And then hopefully it'll be able to hear that music finally. We'll be able to listen to me and music at the same time, which when I'm using my old camera, my old video camera, I can do that. I can do that all the time, all day long. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make sure that this still will fit into the case. I'm going to check my vertical clearance so that I can see if I've got enough clearance vertically that I can add a little bit of extra padding to the bottom. If I can't, then I'll just pad the case so that this isn't going to be moving around anyway. It's going to provide a good cushy ride anyway. But if I can add a little bit of extra padding to the bottom of the base of the machine, I'll go ahead and do that if it'll still fit into the case. So that's what I'm going to try right now, is trying to put this into the case and see whether or not we have enough clearance. You can see I'm trying to wiggle it into position right now. And if you're trying to pack a machine virtually identical to this, lift it right underneath the free arm. Lift it underneath the free arm and just kind of make sure that those padded feet are clearing that surface so you don't end up damaging those padded feet that I just put on here for Adam. And I can see right now that we're not going to have any spare room. We're not going to have any spare room to add extra padding to the bottom of the machine because we're right up against the lid right here. We're right up against the inside of the lid. So we'll simply add that extra padding to the case. The machine's not going to be moving anywhere, and that way it'll be nicely protected. But we have to take this out again now because we have to pack in the case first the foot controller and the accessory box in the compartment in the back. If we can't fit them in there because there's too much padding already, then I'll just pack them into the tote separately. Add a little bit more tape to the top of here first. Okay, lift this up. Actually, move that to the back temporarily. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab those other accessories that we have to put inside of the case, and we'll see if we're able to fit them in there still. So we've got the accessory box itself, and then we have the foot controller. And in the back of the carrying case, there's two compartments. Sometimes I'll make them a little bit too thick and they won't quite fit in there. I think I'm okay, but we'll give it a try first. Actually move this off the workbench just temporarily. So you can kind of see what I'm working with here. You're looking at the case, you've got this little compartment back here in the rear of the case. The one on the top is going to be a little bit wider, and that's where that foot controller is going to go, right up here. And then this more narrow one on the bottom is where that accessory case is going to slide in. So hopefully I didn't add too much padding and we can still fit them in there. Maybe I can do it with this hand. I think I might have to take a little bit of this off. So the foot controller does fit in there, but this one's a little bit too bulky to fit in there. So unfortunately, I've got one of two choices. I can either not put it into the carrying case, or I can take off a little bit of the girth. There's just a little bit too much thickness, and slide it into that compartment. I would prefer to keep it in the case. So I'm just going to carefully open this up. I'll take a little bit of the layer off, which means I have to write this over again. Oh no, oh no. Not too difficult. Not too difficult. Just have to try to find that seam if I can. Actually, I'm going to go to scissors now. And I get feedback. I get feedback all the time. People love this channel because I don't edit things. I don't edit things and try to make it look like it turns out perfect every single time. And they say they love that about this channel. So you're seeing that in an effort to try to protect this accessory box, I added about one layer too much. I think if I remove this one layer, we'll be able to get that into that compartment. But that compartment is really designed only for the accessory box. So I guess I didn't goof up too badly, because there's not a lot of tolerance. There's not a lot of clearance in there for anything beyond the case itself. Okay, so I'm going to cut this right about there. Get rid of the extra bulk. Kind of like a weight loss program for this accessory box right now. We're giving it a thin experience. And what I'm going to try right now is I'm just going to hold it like this. I'll trim off these ends a little bit, and then I'll try sliding it in to see if we got enough clearance at this point. I think we will. I think we might. I'll just put a single little piece of tape to hold that edge together there. All right, so I've got that anchored down. This little fluff on the end is okay, but I was especially trying to be sensitive about protecting this properly, because Adam's case already has a chunk out of it. It already has a crack on it, so we don't want it to crack anymore. So let's see if we can slide it in now. See if it'll slide in now. Tell you what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull this out because this hook controller is pushing down a little bit. Let's see if we can get this in first. And those bubbles push out just far enough, about probably almost a 0.5 millimeter on both edges. That's still going to be a little bit on the thick side. And I've only got like one layer on there. I would hate to send this. I would hate to send this without any padding around it, but I might not have any other choice. This is going to be an older style Husqvarna case. It's going to be an older style Husqvarna case, and the compartment on the bottom seems like it's a little bit smaller than the newer versions. And there I go. Watch this. Like magic. So it's built with such a tight tolerance. I've got stretch wrap around it. I've got packing tape around it, but it looks, and I've got padding. You saw me put extra bubble wrap on the inside of the accessory case so that the accessories aren't jiggling around and bouncing around. It looks like with this particular carrying case, because the tolerance is so limited, I'm not going to be able to pad this at all. I'm just going to have to put it in there, and it's going to be really, really snug with that extra stretch wrap around there. So, yeah, and I don't want to damage these compartments either by trying to jam it in there. You know what I mean? So there you go. Cases are not all identical, and from one generation, this is a class 20 machine, going from class 20 to class 21. They changed the case designs as well, so can only do so much. So now we have the accessory box in there. We've got this foot controller in there as well. And I'm not going to be concerned about necessarily clipping this strap because this is pushing out quite a distance. I'm probably just going to anchor this strap down with a little piece of painter's tape. And then I'll go ahead and slide the machine in, because it's the machine. Once the machine is in there, there's not going to be any movement whatsoever. No movement at all. Okay, so now we have the accessory box in there. We've got the foot controller in there. And now I'm going to try to get the machine into position. And then we'll check around the machine once it's in here to see if there's any little cavities that we need to fill with some of the bubble wrap that we had to take off of the accessory box. We'll probably just repurpose it to fill those little spaces. All right, we'll carefully get this into position. Reach underneath that free arm to try to wiggle this into place. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a very tight fit. We do have to deal with some of the open spaces over here, which we'll plug up with excess bubble wrap that we have. We have a little space over here as well that we'll fill up with bubble wrap. Little cavity there where it contours in below the balance wheel. We don't want to leave that like that. We want to fill that in as well so that the machine has no ability whatsoever to move within the case. We want it to be totally immobilized. Just checking my shot. That looks like a little bit too high there. There we go. Check to make sure I can close it, and I can. So we know now that we have the case really snug. We're going to make it even more snug. And now what we're going to do is we're going to fill those extra little cavities. Fill those little extra cavities around here so that the machine doesn't have any ability to move around within that case at all. What I'll do after that is I'll go around this case with stretch wrap, totally cocoon this case with stretch wrap, and pay specific attention to initially creating a band of stretch wrap over these locking mechanisms either side, so that if they somehow popped open, the case still wouldn't open. I'll go around and around and around on this side, go around and around and around on this side with stretch wrap, and then also packing tape. And then I'll go around the entire case with stretch wrap, packing tape, and then we'll create a fortress of bubble wrap. We'll create a fortress of bubble wrap around the entire case, adding extra bubble wrap, particularly on the bottom, because the fit is so tight, we couldn't add extra bubble wrap to the base here. So we'll create extra bubble wrap on the bottom of it to give it even a better cushion ride. Yep. Oh, Beth, you were in radio too then. I was out on in the Bay Area of San Francisco on two different radio stations that were part of the Salem Broadcasting Network. One was AM, the other one was FM. And yeah, interesting background. So Beth was in radio also then. Very cool. All right, so I'm going to fill these cavities up, and then I'll follow the next steps like I described to you. Ultimately, this is going to go inside of a very heavy-duty tote. All the cavities around this cocoon unit here will be filled up with packing peanuts, and then eventually it'll be strapped down. I'll probably also drill points around it as well and add tie downs to secure the lid even further. And then I've got to get this over to the post office in the next 2 hours or so. So I'll end the live stream now. Thank you to everybody for being a part of the live stream. I know that to some extent watching this packing process, especially if you've seen it before, is a little bit like watching grass grow. I mean, I can only make packing so exciting, you know what I mean? I can only make it so exciting. It really is a utility function of safeguarding the VSM. It's not a dynamic experience, you know, like, hey, look at all this. Look at it, it's exciting. Hey. But you know what? It's necessary, because what's the point in having a beautiful vintage sewing machine without knowing the best possible way to ship it so it arrives undamaged? So from that standpoint, it is exciting. But I get it. It's not quite like watching the machine sew. Yeah. But great to have all of you here. Great to have our regulars in particular, Beth, and we had Ron, I think, earlier as well. I don't remember who else was here. Beth and Ron, and we had Thalia as well earlier on. Susie, obviously. Kind of scrolling up in the chat a little bit here to see what I can see. Who else did we have? Yeah, there's Ron Wilkerson. I think that's it, right? Is that about it? I think I counted everybody, at least that stepped into the live chat. Yeah, I don't think I missed anybody. I might have missed somebody, but at any rate, I would strongly recommend you look at some of the other packing videos on the channel as well. Every machine is different. Every machine is different. And like I demonstrated recently when I showed a little bit of the packing of a 301A, because of the unique design in the case for the 301A, you've got a block of wood over here that acts as kind of a buffer. You got a block of wood in the back. You have to be really, really aware when you're packing that machine as far as the clearance tolerances to be able to fit that machine once it's cocooned back into that carrying case again. All in all, I think we did a brilliant job. We did a brilliant job with this packing today. But, oh, there's Bill. Hey, Bill, guess what? I had you in Montana earlier. I I shared your note that you sent by way of email without showing your address, and I read it too quick. I thought you were talking about the weather in Minnesota, but you were wanting me to ship you a hat all the way out in Montana. And I'll show you the hat that everybody picked out for you. This is the hat right here that everyone picked out for you. We had kind of a group vote, and this is the one I'll be sending you out in Minnesota, not Montana. But you'll get a chuckle out of that when you watch this potentially later. Yeah, so this will be your hat. You can wear it proudly out in Minnesota. Susie, right above you in the live chat, is also from Minnesota, but I have no idea where your city is in relation to her. So, but congratulations also on the new puppy. I wasn't aware you got a puppy. Susie told me you got a puppy, so that's really cool. It feels like Montana. It probably does. I've driven across Montana. It is a really, really long state, isn't it? Really a long state. All right. Well, I'm gonna just fill in these little gaps around the machine that I talked about, and then y'all can wrap up your conversations, learning a little bit more about what it's like to have a puppy in Minnesota, which is what Bill is kind of experiencing right now. I've had puppies; they can be a handful. They're wonderful to have, but they are also a handful. And then I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream. Let y'all get back to the rest of your day. And thank you to everybody that kind of came and went. And hopefully this will be a resource to someone later that's looking at and saying, how can I best protect that Swedish beauty? Whether it's a seller sending it to the workshop on behalf of a customer, or whether it's a customer buying that machine. So, at any rate, blah, blah, blah. Have a great day, everybody. I'll wrap this up and end the live stream shortly. Okay, incoming call. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up the live stream pretty quick here. We've got this cocoon really well, as you can see. We've got all of this vacant space over here where there would be the possibility of the machine being jostled or being moved from side to side in the case. We've now immobilized that as well. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and close the case up. And then the next step I would take is to go ahead and go around this case several times. I'll actually demonstrate it so you can see it, because me trying to describe it may create a little bit of confusion. But what you want to do next, is this me over here? I'm trying to see. Okay, there we go. Too far. See how it's hanging off the table right here? What you do next now is you want to make sure that you ensure that these clasps right up here don't open up in the transit of the machine. We want to make sure that these can't open up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to anchor them down, and then we'll eventually anchor the whole case. You can see by me doing this, and then I'll put packing tape over the top of it. Even if this somehow came loose, if this somehow popped open, it's not going to be able to open up. So it's going to keep the case secure. It's going to keep it closed. I do this on both sides, so that both of those locking mechanisms, those clasps, are anchored down. And then I go around the entire case with stretch wrap and packing tape, and then eventually cocoon it with bubble wrap and more stretch tape, or stretch wrap rather, and then packing tape. And then that goes inside of that tote so that it's going to be even an extra layer of protection with that heavy gauge plastic tote that goes around there. So that's it. And then there's a special process I use for closing containers as well, which you can see on some of the other packing videos. So now we go around this with packing tape. And just make sure you don't get it on the vinyl case, because it'll actually pull the color right off. All right, I'll do the same thing on this side. Then I'll go around the entire thing with stretch wrap and packing tape, then bubble wrap, then more stretch wrap, then more packing tape, and then eventually it will go inside of that heavy duty tote, and then be filled. All the area around it will be filled with packing peanuts to give it even more protection. And again, I'll really build this base up on the bottom of this case to make sure that it's got a really, really nice cushy ride on the bottom of here as well, as that machine is going up and down in the shipping process. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully my audio has stayed clean and clear now that I move this microphone over here on the workbench closer to where I'm talking to you right now. So everybody have a great day. And looks like we might have a storm coming in that probably will touch Minnesota, Wisconsin, and maybe Michigan as well. So y'all stay safe. God bless you. And we will watch for another live stream soon. I'm actually going to be working on a machine from New York next, Bronx, New York, which eventually will be live streamed. So take care, everybody. God bless. Thank you to the moderator team. I think the only moderator we had today was Susie. So thank you, Susie, for making everyone feel welcome. And thank you for, just being a great hostess as well. And thank you also for sharing your hat with Bill, so Bill can wear that proudly out in Minnesota. Who knows? Maybe the two of you will be at the Mall of America at some point and see that hat being worn. That would be kind of cool. All right, take care. God bless. Bye.